1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness. 1 in 20 experience serious mental illness. And 17% of youth experience a mental illness. And these are only statistics in the U.S., not accounting for the global population. And that is why May, as Mental Health Awareness Month, is so important. With day after day feeling like a struggle, feeling alone, helpless, or that no one really cares. In reality, people do. Something as simple as checking on someone or making sure they're okay, even if you don't understand, can make all the difference in the world. If you or someone you love is experiencing some form of mental illness, it's always important to get help, even if it's harder to do. For more information, check out the links in the description below. You are not alone in your pain. You're entitled to the way you feel, and it's okay to not be okay. Hello and welcome back to Jack Knives Reviews. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives. Today let's look at the head trip movie, Frank. A struggling musician named John joins a band made up of misfits, led by an eccentric singer named Frank, who never takes off his papier-mâché head. As they grow closer, both musically and personally, John wants to see what is under the mask and who Frank really is. If you'd have told me that Michael Fassbender plays a mentally ill musician that is in a styrofoam head mask 24/7, I'd have gone, what? But that's not the most shocking thing about this movie. I'll get to that in a bit. The movie itself is very much a fever dream. It's very quirky, but not like forcibly quirky. It feels like it's truly portraying musicians as they're just making stuff up, and they like what they sound. You know, for better or for worse, they like or hate what they like and hate. And in comes this new guy who is I guess he's trying to make a name for himself. He sees Frank as his way of getting to the top, but it's also a story about a guy who's just as much a mystery as he is to the main character and the band as he is to us. It's the version that he portrays himself as that we know, but we don't really know him, and almost no one does. And it's obvious, even though these people are close to him, they don't really know him. It seems to be tackling certain forms of different various mental illnesses, ones that involve auditory, sensory, identity, and things like that, that tackle it in a way that doesn't feel out of place. And it doesn't feel like it's bashing you over the head with the explanations, but it's also not outright defending them either. It's got a good balance in the same way that the music is just there, take it or leave it. The story and character of Frank is very much the same way. He is who he is, take him or leave him. And I think that also will divide a bunch of people watching this movie. But let me first go over the cast. Domhnall Gleeson plays the main character. Honestly, I think this is probably his best role I can think of off the top of my head. I know he's done a lot of other roles, but I really, really liked him in this. He was a straight man to the madness that is going on, and yet he's also trying to blend in with it too. He felt like the sober guy at the party where everyone's tripping, and we're kind of in the same boat with him. Like, well, if he starts tripping, then where are we going? He plays it in a way that doesn't feel he's listening, but he also has an ulterior motive, which is, as I said before, him getting famous or whatever, getting rich, and it's for his own benefit. So he's not really a redeemable character. He wants to know more about Frank. It's more of a consequence than it is a reason. So we want to know about him, but he's kind of more interested in himself than anything else. Which Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, we assumed was only in it for herself. She almost comes off like a Yoko Ono-esque character who's trying to sabotage the band. But in reality, no, she's trying very desperately to fan his flames of creativity. That leads to, of course, Michael Fassbender. I honestly think it is an astounding job he did in this movie. It is a testament to the range of actor he is to be able to pull off a character like this. It's a character essentially in a box the whole movie. He has a paper mache mask head that he wears for almost the entirety of the movie, and because of that, everything he does, we have to fill in the blanks. It goes back to the very, very early stages of acting that if anyone who studies drama or anyone who studies vaudeville or anyone who studies silent film knows, it was expressionist. You have to give. You can't say. You have to visually tell. It goes back to how mimes are. They can't speak, so they have to visualize what they're trying to say. But imagine the visual without the face. The eyes are the windows to the soul, but what happens when there's no face? Like, it plays off that really interesting mindset. Now on to the shocking and interesting thing about this movie. The character of Frank is based off of a real person. Specifically, a British cultural icon named Frank Sidebottom, who was a comedic character who was also a musician, played by the late Chris Sivey. What's interesting about that is reading up on research about him and finding out more about Chris Sivey as a person. He was a mystery to almost everyone, in the same way that Frank the character is. But what was fascinating about the movie and the character of Frank Sidebottom is that they're polar opposites. In the sense of, Frank in the movie is a serious musician who is weird and laughable, whereas Chris Sivey and Frank Sidebottom, the real person, was a comedic character outlet that Chris Sivey wanted to use to be taken seriously as a musician. But because of the comedy character hindering him, he was never taken seriously. So in a really weird twist of fate, the movie Frank is a beautiful tribute to the character of Frank, but also keeping it its own separate thing. And I like to think that that's not coincidence. I don't believe that that's a coincidence. There's no possible way. Even the design of the head is exactly, almost verbatim the same. But I will say, this movie does deal with one thing, and that is the same thing that Chris Sivey wanted to do is the same thing that the character of Frank in this movie wanted to do. Be creative, without restrictions, and be loved by who they do or don't want to be loved by. Be yourself, be open, be who you are. And sometimes, that's really all you need. Have you seen Frank? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'll see you next time.